This isn't just content, it's a conversation with purpose. These children were raised in what I feel to be a great environment. We don't know their household, so we can only speak to what we know. When you have Pitney, do you not want them to be happy? Do you not want them to feel safe and secure? And if that is your ultimate goal, why are we not rooting for them? Do we feel that only a handful of people can create a space in which their children can thrive? When we think about generational wealth, we need to understand that generational wealth has existed in the Black community for a long, long time. And that to me was like a huge game changer. Because if I'm honest, if I'm gonna keep it real, we don't know on this podcast, yeah, I don't know how to do anything at 80%, 20%. I know how everything I do it at 110%. Don't allow somebody's view of who you are and your capabilities to dictate how you move forward in your life. This is your life. Rest is not a reward, it's a necessity. Welcome back to this episode of How Do You Divine? And today we are going to stick up in. And what does that even mean? Stay tuned. Every few episodes, I take a little reflection. I pause so that we discuss what we've seen thus far. And if you're from the Caribbean, you know what stick up in means. And in this episode, I speak more in my two dialects as a Jamaican to teach you what it means to stick up in, hold a discussion and pause right there. Let's think through what we've seen, not only on the podcast, but in our communities and in our space. No guests, there's no interviews, just me. Let's stick up in. I take a little time to reflect, to run through the movements and the culture and give y'all a real raw take from the headlines to the heart. It's a more laid back, a little more fun, and a whole lot of truth. Come, let's hold a line and sit down on the front porch and talk about what the podcast has been thus far, some things that we've seen in our community that we can unpack and really just take a pause. Because in this day of digital age, information comes and goes really quickly. And often we just are so reactive to it that we hold on to that moment of that emotion, right? We saw this in the headlines and that in the headlines, and it's just ultimately always shocking us with information that wouldn't even say, hold on. What him say? What they say happened? How that look? So in this episode, let's stick up in. Welcome to everyone who is new to the podcast, and let's first discuss the podcast thus far. We're in a new rhythm and we're in a new rhyme, the different stages, the different sets. My commitment is to ensure that we have content for the podcast on a regular basis. We started this season trying to commit to weekly episodes and quickly learn enough work not to know. And not just that, it's a lot of work. Honestly, from a scheduling perspective, it has become quite difficult to ensure the quality of the podcast. So as of this episode, we are moved to every other Wednesday. Audio versions will be available on all podcast platforms, and the videos will be available that Friday. So audio every other Wednesday and video on Fridays. That's the pace that we're trying to maintain. This isn't just content. It's a conversation with purpose. So subscribe, tell a friend, tap in, Sanika over there, do something good. And we are all a vibe. Our first topic today is, what does success mean in the Black community? This question came to mind when I saw so many different conversations happening around the trajectory of Shedeur Sanders, as well as Bronny James and Blue Ivy, right? These are kids of well-known athletes, celebrities, entertainers. These children were raised in what I feel to be a great environment. We don't know their household, so we can only speak to what we know. But ultimately, I wanted to have this discussion about, what does success mean in terms of parenting to you? You don't have to be a parent in order to answer that question, because we've all been children, right? What does success look like to you? Because for me, I think Shedeur and Bronny and Blue are the living testaments of what we want our children to be. Ultimately, I can speak for myself and my household. My husband and I strive to ensure that we are providing not only a home, but an environment, an ecosystem, a world for our children where they can thrive and not even know survival. But we have to also be mindful of, as parents and as children from our own situations, what does success actually mean to you? Because the conversation happening around nepotism and them being handed something as if they haven't displayed an effort of work and commitment to their disciplines is so dismissive. And I'm trying to understand, why do we in the Black community feel like in order to attain success, struggle must be associated, right? So I asked the question, what does success means to us in the Black community when we thinking about parenthood? Because if you ask me, the parents of Shedeur and Bronny James have done well, right? And Blue Ivy, they've done well, not only again to raise what seemingly are good human beings, right? But also provide them with opportunities and spaces in which they desire to exist without the need of struggle. So I wanted to pose that question. I stick a pin and remind people that I don't understand, when you have pitney, do you not want them to be happy? Do you not want them to feel safe and secure? And if that is your ultimate goal, why are we not rooting for them? Why? Because I know for me, I'm like, yes. Did you see Blue Ivy come back on this most recent Cowboy Carter tour and show the people that she is eating the girls up? You hear me? Eating the girls up. Her 1-2 step is killing them. And it makes me so happy, not only as like a mom and a woman in the space, just because we've seen how Blue Ivy has matured and mastered the craft of dancing and stage presence from the first time she hit the stage alongside her mother, right? But this is also the same child that when Beyonce brought her to the forefront in her afro, people were like, "Comb that girl here." So it makes me wonder, what is success and happiness in our Black community if we are critiquing things that we just don't understand? Is it okay to just say, I don't understand that? Just again, creating space to have the conversation. We are stick up in and we are going to talk about nepotism, right? Is it hard for us in the Black community to understand nepotism because many of us haven't experienced it? Or is it hard for us to be accepting of nepotism because we haven't come to the place where we can then offer it, right? Is it a mentality of, what is the right word? Is it a mentality based on deprecation, or is it a mentality based on scarcity? Do we feel that only a handful of people can create a space in which their children can thrive? Because as someone who works in corporate spaces, I have seen nepotism in corporate spaces. It's not only entertainment, right? And nepotism is not always putting, your child in as a VP or as a manager, but what it is offering up the opportunity for your child to explore an industry or a space or a desire that they have in a safe environment that you've already vetted and validated, right? That's all, in my perspective, nepotism is providing opportunity without all of the bureaucracy and red tape of the traditional world. So when I'm thinking of that and why we should stick a pin and why we have this perception when it comes to entertainers and celebrities, Mawan, sit down and ask you haven't seen anyone in your environment be put in a position to thrive based on their family and their friends? I think if you question it that way, it'll be a little bit different, because I know for certain, especially in Brooklyn, enough restaurant, lounge, clothing stores. There are so many small businesses in New York City that are owned by generations of families, right? And when we think about generational wealth, we need to understand that generational wealth has existed in the Black community for a long, long time. So when I hear the term generational curse breaker, breaking generational curses. I understand that. And I do think there are things that we can leave behind, but take the meat, leave the bones, but also acknowledge the fact that nepotism has existed in our environment for a long time. So why the negativity? Why the Bronny shouldn't be in the NBA? He not ready for the NBA. Can you go one-on-one with Bronny? I know I can't. Like, can you go one-on-one with Bronny? You know what I mean? And just the conversations that were happening around Shedeur's drafting and how he wasn't number one pick, but he did get picked though. He is in the pros though. Can you go up and down the field with Shedeur? I know I couldn't. So I just think let's give people their flowers and their credits for the things that they have dedicated themselves to. And then also full hand claps and cheers for the parents that allowed them to do so in an environment that lets them thrive. Because again, what is successful parenting if not for that? All right. Stick up in events, these live events that are back and in full swing. I don't know if anybody noticed, we are officially 5 years from COVID. And when I tell you live events are back in full effect, them are going with them good self. I feel like everyone is currently touring. Kendrick and SZA, Beyonce, the ladies, I feel like the aunties of soul, Stephanie Mills, Patti LaBelle, everyone is touring. And I want to encourage everyone to get out there and support your favorite artist that is out touring right now. In addition to these conferences that are happening across the space, I had the opportunity to go to the Black Effect podcast festival in Atlanta. That was an amazing festival. They had amazing speakers on stage as well as different partners. There was Nissan, there was Coca-Cola, and there was a food truck festival. It was a lot going on in terms of the culture, and I felt the Southern vibe while I was there. But it made me compare to some of the festivals that's here in New York as well. We just had a food festival in Brooklyn hosted by Keith Lee that was crazy. When I tell you the people came out for the good eats. And word on the street is that the food ran out. But all in all, it was a good experience. There was music, there was vibes, and there was outfits. Let me tell you, the people them come out with them good, clean outfits. That's one thing I think we should stick up in and talk about. What I have loved is we have truly come outside. We're outside full force, right? In this season, because again, while being a few years out from COVID, people are attending these festivals. But when I say we putting that thing on, the outfits is outfitting, okay? The fits is fitting. And from the festivals to the concerts, I just love this energy around. I'm going to present my best self for this vibe and come out strong. Speaking of concerts, speaking of the show them, I went to Vibes Cartel's, I want to say, historical return to Brooklyn tour. I did that at the first show. Yeah, me and my sister Tamika went to his first show. Big up to Tamika for sorting that out and making sure we was in the place. But when I say it was a movement, the energy in the place did mad. It was jam-packed, but it was a good vibe. It was like all of Brooklyn came out. And when I tell you, we was in there vibing. The DJ did go on with himself, but so the rhythm and the mix did I keep the place on top. And you could tell that vibes really was super emotional during the show. At one point he came out, brought his mom out and just was praising God for allowing him to go through his trials and tribulations and still return to the stage at that magnitude. And that to me was like a huge game changer. Because if I go keep it real, we don't know on that podcast, yeah. When my little sister first told me about it, I was like, yes, my love vibes, but we are gonna go, I'm sure. All right. Granted, he has served his time, but you don't want to really promote certain things and certain behavior in the community. So I totally, like, if I'm honest, I'm one of those people that, like, I live what I say. And so we had the whole conversation about, but artists are artists, and I'm always championing that I could take the art and leave the person. And little bit of both, but it was definitely like, oh, we gonna see vibes. I wanna go see vibes though. Like, it was definitely one of those. But I am so glad that I went. When I tell you, the show did run good. And at one point he lost his voice. And you could tell how like nerve wracking he was. And he said, listen, I know you guys paid your money and you're here to see me perform. I'm going to go drink water. And when I tell you he drank water, Buster came out Spice. Let's stick our pin on top about Spice. I think Spice does not get the credit Spice deserves as an entertainer on the stage. Spice from Jamaica goes on that stage and work her tail off. You hear me? When I tell you, when Spice hit the stage, it's like you felt this wave of eruption in the Barclays Center. Because Spice was giving us hits, she was giving us moves, she was giving us dance. Listen, she was getting on with herself at that show. You hear me? So that show to me was another electric moment. Buster came out. He had a few artists come out on day one. And ultimately, the show was amazing. But going back to what I'm saying about, I love the fact that we are outside and we're not just showing up at these concerts, in these conferences, and in these spaces. We're showing up as our best self. We making sure to put that outfit on. But I will say, I want to see us more in these conference spaces as well, right? As we know, I work in technology as a senior sales strategist, and I attend many tech conferences as well as marketing conferences. And I want to see more of us. I want to see more people of color in these conferences, because when I'm in the building, in these offices, y'all work there. You work there. So why aren't you coming out to these spaces and having discussions about your goals and aspirations, not only in your career, but who you are as an individual, right? So as I stick up in on concerts, but just want with a Walla vibe, and think about also showing up in conference spaces as well. Go see the panel, talk to the panelists, hear the discussions that's happening with the thought leaders in our space, because it's important to know not just where you are today, but where you want to go in the future. And I think with both technology and marketing and whatever industry you're in, finance, right? I attended a conference led by the Hope organization, John Hope Bryant's organization, just to learn more about financial literacy in our community. I love John Hope Bryant. I already in my mind, I'm like, he's going to be a partner of mine one day, and speak it into existence. But I love his background, and I love how he's not just a thought leader. He is very strategic and very execution oriented. I think everyone has their thing, right? That you're really, really good at. Some people are really good at negotiating. Some people are really good at writing. I think John's very clear that he is not only a thought leader, but he's an executor, right? He knows how to bring an ideation to market and also be mindful of the market. Love John Hope Bryant. So sticking up in on making sure that we are not just attending conferences and the food festivals and all of those things, but we are also entering these conference spaces. That is for people of all different descents in our community to attend these conferences. I want to see you at the customer success conferences. I want to see you in these spaces. Let's make time to upskill ourselves by attending these events, because we often think that it's all about networking, and granted, networking is not for everyone, and it's not an easy thing to do. But in order for you to even learn, you need to be in the space, right? So come on out to these events, and I will try my best on my socials to post when these events are happening. I believe New York Tech Week is coming up next week, and then it's followed by Atlanta Tech Week, and then there's Cannes. There's a lot of things happening, and not all things. You do not need to book travel to attend all of these things, but I want you to be active in your local community and the places and spaces you occupy. Do a Google search, just like how we will Google search where to find an outfit or when our new artist is coming to town. Just do a Google search on a conference based on your interests coming up in your neighborhood. All right, let's do it. Listen, next, let's stick a pin in God, guts, and Google Docs, right? Because I want to stick a pin on purpose and the path towards the goal in your dreams in life. I'm currently going through a transition in corporate because I made a decision to pursue the road less traveled, right? And I'm intentionally being very vague because I want to honor the brands that I am working with that allowed me to feel confident and comfortable through this transition. But I wanted to speak to the intentionality around pursuing a dream and knowing that, like they say, man plan and God laugh, but also being willing to do the work, right? And I'm very much one of those people that I don't know how to do nothing at 10%. And for those who didn't understand my accent, my patois, that means I don't know how to do anything at 80%, 20%. I know how everything I do it at 110%. I am very type A. I'm very organized in that way. I wanted to talk about the importance of following your gut and your intuition during these seasons of transition, right? I have found myself time and time again over the course of the last few weeks seeing these different signs and putting in position different opportunities for me to be very clear that this is the path that I need to be on and this is where my focus needs to be. And while it's scary, right, there's this gut feeling that, yeah, I dismiss it. God said, this road I want you to reach and this is where I want you to go. There still requires some level of planning, right? Pull out the Google Docs and the sheets and ensure that the responsibilities that we have to my life, right? The responsibility I have to my life and also that you have to your life is not hindered in any way, but also it's supportive, right? It's important to create an ecosystem that is aligned with who you want to be in this world and don't not take no check, them with like, don't hold back, don't allow people for small up your things, don't allow somebody's view of who you are and your capabilities to dictate how you move forward in your life. This is your life, your thing, this. And if you don't have the vision and the forthright to say my gut and how I feel is right, then know that you may be susceptible to fall for anything, right? My mother used to say, if you're not standing for nothing, you fall for everything. And you have to know what you stand on. And I know exactly what I stand on. So as we wrap up this episode of Stick Up Pin, I just want to remind you, you are who you say you are. You are who you show up in this world as. And for me, the best form of service is how we treat each other in every space we occupy. Nobody no bigger than nobody. Nobody no higher than nobody. Yeah, them way there. So on this episode of How Do You Divine, I really and truly want us to stick a pin in your life and take inventory on who you are today and who you want to be tomorrow. Where you are today, do you like it? What makes you feel uncomfortable? What makes you feel like, is this a good use of my time, right? Because one thing, resources will come and go. Resources being money, homes, them things will come and go. You can build, you can rebuild. And I'm talking from somebody who built from nothing. Yeah. None. Those things can come and go because once you are a go-getter, money did that for make, right? But time is important, right? So are you committing your time to something that is aligned with the goals and aspirations you have for your life? Take an audit. We all have the 124 hours and some of us have less than others because we sleep enough, right? Rest is not a reward. It's a necessity. So definitely get your rest. But when you are up and about and you're doing your thing, are you actively engaging in the actions that will produce what you want in this world, right? And I am being so intentional about that in this season, that every time spent is time aligned with my goals and where I want to be in this world, and also with my family. Let's talk about what's going on TV. I am typically not a television person. I love scripted TV. At one point, I loved reality TV. I want to say years ago when Real Housewives of Atlanta was Real Housewives of Atlanta. Now I think they all have the same premise of like who said what about who, and it just no, it's not giving what it used to give for me. So I'm over reality TV, but feel free to tap me if it start getting good now. I tapped into the Real Housewives of Atlanta's new revamp for an episode, and that one episode was nice, but then the whole Kenya picture situation happened, and I was like, all right, we too old for that because that too much, and I tapped right back out. But what I do love is scripted TV. Love me some scripted TV when I'm watching TV. A show that has had my household in an uproar is Forever. So if you're new here, I have a 16-year-old and 12-year-old daughters, Maya and Layla, and I'm married to my husband for about 15 years now. Don't tell him that I paused on that. But we've been together since we were teenagers. So watching the show Forever was so interesting. I started to watch it alone and then looped him to watching it and catching up with me. And his reaction, I have some reaction videos on my YouTube, Sanika Nikki, was hysterical because he's such a girl dad that he could not view the first few episodes as Justin. You know, he couldn't root for Justin at all. The entire time he is defending Keisha, wondering why Keisha is in this situation. Like it was so cute to see him ride for Keisha and feel like, listen, Keisha, you don't have to take this. That boy did what? Call the police. It was hysterical. But one thing I did want to stick a pin and let's take a pause and talk about is how scripted TV is more and more starting to reflect our stories that we are familiar with. So I'm just so grateful for the creatives that are putting these scripts and these shows together and bringing them to Netflix and not just streaming services, but also on broadcast TV. I feel like there is a nice swing of content that is being created. Like I just watched the G20 with Viola Davis, and listen, if there is an actress that makes me go, whoa, it is Viola Davis. She deserves all the flowers and all the things, okay? There's a whole list of them, and y'all don't want them right now, but I just wanted to stick a pin and remind us that while we are on social media and we have become very accustomed to engaging in a little mini phone, right? Sometimes it's important to detach from the device to start to wean us back to our normalcy. I've noticed that, again, we are 5 years out from COVID and we are slowly starting to rebuild what normalcy looked like, not only in this day and age of technology, but coming back from the isolation that stemmed from COVID, right? And I want us to encourage everyone to, yes, let's watch a good scripted show because there is good scripted TV out here. You know, they are producing good things. And in order to properly and accurately watch good scripted TV, we have to put our phones across the room so that we can lock in and watch a good show. I'm going to put a list of nice shows for you to watch in this episode. G20 was great. Lioness was amazing. Oh my gosh, there is a show on Apple called My Friends and Neighbors about a gentleman who lost his job. He was an investment banker and essentially started robbing his friends and neighbors. Great show. Recommend that. Still watching Will Trent. Still my show. It's just some great scripted TV out there. So I want us to stick a pin and indulge in the creativity that is happening on the big screen. I'm going to put a list of nice shows for you to watch in this episode. Last but not least, on this episode of Stick a Pin, I feel like the elephant in the room when we talk about pop culture and politics, which neither one is two items that I'd like to explore. But when we talk politics or pop culture, I feel like there is a trial going on that unsubscribe me. How do I unsubscribe to this Diddy trial? I just want to unsubscribe. Take me out the group chat. I think let the people, I don't even want to say let the system handle it, because we all know system is not really as accurate as it needs to be. But I also do not want daily or weekly updates of what's happening in the darkness, because so much of what has come from that Diddy trial to me is just filled with darkness and hurt, right? And it just shows you that like my granny used to say, not everything that glitters is gold. Sometimes things that shiny make is hollow. And take me out the group chat. And stick up in, I just want, put it in the comments. What thing in pop culture or what conversations that are happening do you want to be taken out the group chat? Like, put it in the comments. I want to hear, what do we want to be taken out of the group chat? I want to be taken out of the group chat for the Diddy trial. I want to be taken out of the group chat for whatever was happening with Remy Ma and all celebrity relationship discord arguments. Take me out the group chat. I wasn't here for Remy. I'm not here for it for Cardi. Listen, keep that behind closed doors. Take me out the group chat for any relationship that is breaking apart and is no longer in a positive place, and you guys don't want to take me out the group chat. I don't want to be a part of that group chat. I don't want to be a part of the group chat in regards to what else? What else don't I want to be a part of the group chat for? Oh my gosh. When people say global warming is not a real thing, take me out the group chat. Take me out. I want to be taken off the list. When you're trying to appropriately, I think all my algorithms at this point on all my social media platforms they're starting to learn and know me, because I'm quick to hit that 3 dots. Not interested, please. Not interested. Something I want to still be in the group chat for, but I'm not participating, is the line dances. Absolutely. It's the line dances. Listen, where them fans at? I want to, but I can't. I feel like my dancing, I used to dance in high school and in college, and that is hip hop and contemporary dance. Because nowadays you say that, people mind go other places. But the line dances, I don't know why. I'm a Caribbean girl, so my body just want to roll. I just want everything need a little wine in it. Although the little whap, whap, whap is a one little hip thing, I'm just like, I move to the left and that's a body roll. I move to the right, it's a body roll. So line dances has never been my jam. So I want to be in the group chat just to hear Wagwan, right? Because to me, a line dance, that's my song. And when I tell you I could do it, maybe, I know I probably can't do it. Like, I probably can't do it. But I want to be in the group chat, but I don't want to be a participant. Okay? So keep me in the group chat for the line dances. Keep me out the group chat for the other stuff. This has been another episode of Stick Up In. I'll come back with talk now. And because quality over quantity, people, the pace that we are trying to maintain is important, right? The pace of peace, as I call it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave in the comments some words and conversations that you would like us to explore, and who should be our next guest on the show. As the show evolves, I'd like to start interviewing more notable individuals so that we understand how we define our lives is more important than what we define our lives by. So thank you so much for joining this conversation. And this is Sanika. How do you divine Stick Up In? Thank you so much for watching this episode. Until next time, stay loud, stay rooted, stay real. And be sure to remember to make space to be well. See you on the next one.